Hello, it's National Work-Life Week with a focus on work-life balance and reasonable working hours and flexible working arrangements. And so I'm here to tell you that there's no such thing as work-life balance. Wait, before you leave, let me elaborate. I'm not here to tell you that in order to be successful, you need to work every hour possible. You need to have a side hustle, whatever that is. You need to sacrifice your personal priorities and your personal relationships to work. No, what I really want to do is explore the term work-life balance and explain to you how it's less than helpful, it's often misunderstood, and that there's another more helpful lens that we can use to look through to get a better understanding of this key aspect of our working lives. Let's take a look. Okay, so there's 5 things I'd like to explain to you. They're very simple, but they're often overlooked when we think about the topic work-life balance. First of all, it's not work versus life. Work is part of life. And if we keep putting things in terms of versus, against, in competition, then we miss out how work contributes to our experience of life and how our personal lives can complement our professional lives. So to move away from work versus life and instead think of the professional and the personal. Now, we can also move beneath professional and personal and get a little bit more specific, because each of us, I can say with confidence, is a lot more complex and interesting than just 2 aspects of life. So it's useful to consider the roles that we occupy, the responsibilities that we have. So you probably have a job title, and that tells you a lot about your roles there. That's a formal role. But outside of work, we've got plenty of roles, and we need to remember these to keep a focus on them. You might be somebody's child, somebody's parent, somebody's spouse or partner. You might be somebody's friend. You might be part of a community group, a sports group. You see, it's not just life in a box, but actually it's made up of multiple roles. And we need to keep an eye on the roles that we have to consider how we're going to occupy them. And number 3 is not just about time. You know, we need to remember that we can divide our working week up into slots, but when we look at what actually happened, it could be slightly different. It's not just about managing the time, but also the attention, the focus we give to things, and the energy we invest in those different roles. You've possibly been told by someone when you're physically present, you're actually psychologically somewhere else, and that's just not helpful for you to be successful in that role. Really fundamentally, this is not about balance. We talk about work-life balance all the time, but balance implies a 50-50 state, and it implies a static state. And for many people, this isn't about having a 50-50 division of time, attention, or energy between their personal and their professional roles. Okay, actually, it moves around, it changes, and so what works for me may not work for you. So let's not compare, but think about that division of time, attention, and energy between the roles rather than a 50-50, which is possibly quite unrealistic. And finally, to pick up on that static point, it is more like the ongoing navigation of challenges as they arise, the ongoing work to look at what comes between us and the successful integration or navigation of these different roles. We don't achieve one day a tick in the box that says you now have work-life balance. We all know that life is far too complicated and unpredictable for that. However, if we keep going at it, and if we keep it as an ongoing area of focus, something to pay attention to, we're much more likely to view it as something that we're doing well at, and we won't be disappointed when things around us change. All that said, we're still stuck with the term work-life balance, so I'm not going to be precious about it. Keep using it if that's helpful, but remember, it's not about work versus life, it's not about a static arrangement, and it's not about balance necessarily. I hope you found this brief discussion useful. If you have, make sure you like and subscribe, as they say, but also think about who could you share this with, maybe a friend or a colleague. Next time, we're going to look at a related topic, how it is that we can proactively and with intention manage the boundaries in our lives to make sure that we can be effective and keep a handle on our well-being. I look forward to seeing you then.